And that's now. Okay, so the first thing is some dominant thoughts that we have that are positive don't happen. Correct? The second one is sometimes we hold negative dominant thoughts, fears. The law of attraction says whatever you hold as a dominant thought and attach feeling to it, that is attracted to you. And yet we do have things that we fear quite often that don't end up happening. For years and years and years, people who I've lived here for most of my life along the Wasatch Front, and for years and years and years, people have been saying, there's going to be an earthquake, a really, really bad earthquake. And for 50 of the years I've lived here, I've never felt one. But there's going to be one, and there's a lot of energy around. That's just one example. Things that, and you and I fear things, or we think of negative things, and they don't turn out. They don't happen. If it's a law, like gravity, it should work every time. Yes? Law of gravity says if I take this and I drop it, it's not going to go up. It's going to work that way every time. Law of attraction, it's going to work every time. But it doesn't.
Do they explain the things that, like, you don't even consider happening that happen? Like, what would be the opposite? Like, if someone never feared, like, a loved one passing away or losing them, but that does happen, like, do they touch on that at all?
No, and that's the third thing. That's the third thing that's missing from the law of attraction is we have things all the time happen to us that it didn't even occur in our consciousness for it to happen. Somebody passes away. Somebody, accidents happen, so-called. Now, I'm not slamming that, but it's missing some pieces. Then I've always thought, there's got to be something I'm missing. And when I came upon this principle I want to share with you today, this filled in the gaps. This was one of the coolest principles I've ever come upon, and it made my life way easier from a controlling point of view, where I kind of went, I don't have to control things quite so much. Now, I want to ask you guys a question. If you had to put yourself in one of two categories, so you have to raise your hand for one or the other, and it's not bad, don't worry. How many of you, there's two ways of living life. There's two ways of approaching how you live your days. One is like a rocket ship. In this scenario, these are the two ways. One is a rocket ship. The rocket has a goal. It goes towards the goal. If something gets in the way, it kind of goes around it, but its main focus is get to the goal. And that person is usually perceived as successful because they achieve goals. Okay? Very worthy, very, very cool. The other person, or the contrast to that, is the person who is the hot air balloon, who goes up into the air and lets the wind kind of take him or her around, and the joy of that person's experience is the incredible views that are present as the wind takes that person to wherever it does. Okay, now if you were to categorize yourself, and I know you're probably saying, well, I'm a little of both, little of this, little of that. But if you were to say, I'm probably a little more this than that, how many of you would say you're the rocket ships? Hot air balloons? And neither's more, there's not a, neither is better. Both have amazingly successful experiences. Now, what I want to share with you kind of puts both of those together.